Hey guys, my name's Adam Belansky. I am founder and CEO of Sierra Pacific Group, and some of you might also know me as the ConnectWise boss. We really help technology business leaders leverage ConnectWise products to get the most out of their systems with proven best practices quickly and efficiently. We've done over several thousand implementations, optimizations, and custom projects. We have the answers. We do the hard work to get it done, and so you don't have to. You can rely on enjoying that profitable, economical, efficient team. So today is PitchIT Live, and we actually get to have another security company on. So I'm excited for that. But let me bring on my co-host, Mr. Sean Lardo.
Are you really excited about that?
I am.
I know you feel about security. How are you, by the way?
Yeah, exactly. And I actually forget to tell everybody where we're broadcasting. We're actually broadcasting to LinkedIn, Facebook groups such as ConnectWise Boss, ConnectWise Tips and Tricks, and also the YouTube channel and LinkedIn. So we're good. We're all over the social networks, if you will. I hope in one day that we can eventually stream to Reddit. That would be pretty nice.
Oh my goodness.
But tell me, Sean, what is PitchIT again?
Oh, PitchIT, Thunderdome. 18 teams enter, 1 team leaves. To simplify it, PitchIT was created to find the best of innovators to be involved into the ConnectWise economy. 2 missions in mind here. One is to be able to integrate with ConnectWise to improve the way the overall performance is for partners, but also most importantly to support the MSPs themselves. Again, we're very much about rising together, succeeding together. It's kind of important. It's a pretty big deal. But PitchIT was created off of that. We created it as an incubation program now, so that we have the 16-week accelerator course that's taken place. And it's all about helping to give a more well-rounded education, hopefully, and fill in gaps for the contestants, as well as bring them onto these things so we can get some exposure for them and get an understanding of what the market's asking for too when they get a chance to learn about them. You put the three promises there, which is fantastic. Jason McGee and team went on stage and went on public record to say, hey, last year 3 promises, make it easier to do business with, and invest even more into partner growth and more innovations faster. And again, PitchIT is all 3 combined in one, but the first one that stands out right away is the more innovation faster, because if people have not been watching this series, should, because they'll see a lot of very, very cool, innovative solutions to solve problems. And in various ways. I mean, we've seen people that do similar things here, right? But they do it in a different manner, and because it isn't a one size fits all, I feel like. So yeah, that's it.
Nice, that's it. We don't too often actually talk about this, the ConnectWise modes, and
we don't.
As we're talking about business maturity and various different styles of businesses, right? I think it's important to understand, where you're at in these various different modes and how you're operating, because I think a lot of these tools and why, I'm involved in this and excited about this stuff is because the implementations and stuff that we do, I can see some of these tools really playing well depending on what mode you're in. So it's really, really cool.
Absolutely.
Sean, anything else to add to that?
No, I couldn't agree more. Actually, we were at IT Nation Secure, and we did a modes assessment. We had 2 partners that did a modes assessment, and they built their cybersecurity business plan off of modes. And what the concept of modes is about teaching you where you are between being a value builder, a balance builder, an empire builder, a startup. Because the first common issue that you see for all company owners that start companies, all entrepreneurs, is they're not sure what mode they really are in to make decisions on where their company should go to. And modes is a phenomenal thing. If you guys are anybody that's a vendor watching this, you should look at modes assessments, because we preach to our partners so they can start to identify where they are, where they belong, what they should be doing. And again, for them, it's a true up on who they are. And that's the important piece. So I would highly suggest you do it. It's a free assessment, and it will give you an immediate response as to what you are and it gives you an option. They say, do you want us to share this with the Evolve and the ConnectWise team? And you can say no. So yeah. I highly suggest it.
So we are actually here because we have a contestant on.
We do.
Joining us here. So I'm going to bring in Alton Johnson from Vonahi.
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 Yep.
Vonahi Security. So thanks for joining.
Yeah, appreciate you for having us.
Awesome. So I'm going to throw up this little thing here. So Alton, tell us who you are.
Well,
Yeah.
can I before you say this, Alton, can I say like immediately I thought of like Belle Biv DeVoe or you're about to sing some slow jams to me when I looked at this picture, which I'm a Motown fan, so like everything from that to hip hop to R&B. I mean, like I immediately was like, oh, I like this guy. He's gonna sing. He's gonna sing a cappella to me.
He put it in the graphic and have like everything.
Like Tevin Campbell, maybe like Tevin Campbell, maybe that's
Yep. Yeah, well, no, I appreciate that. I mean, I've got a really nice song about pen testing that I would like to sing.
Nice, perfect. Yes, please do.
Yep. Yeah. So so my name is Alton Johnson, the founder and principal consultant at Vonahi Security, and I'm originally from New Orleans. And so I've always had a passion for hacking, and kind of the way I got started into the industry. I was 11 years old, and I was using AOL at the time, and I got hacked. Right, so back then they had like ProRat Sub 7. That was like the big thing back in the day, and somebody hacked me. They showed me how they did it, and I've just become obsessed with it. Right, I was always just been curious about can I get access to somebody's computer? Didn't really care about what was on it, just wanted to get access. And so as I got a lot older, I realized that you can actually get paid to hack, and it's still pretty surprising to a lot of people today that you can get paid to do what we're doing, right? But that's kind of how I've always just been super passionate about like hacking, coding, and I started working in cybersecurity professionally. I would say around 18 or 19 years old, and so I've been pen testing in the industry for a little bit over 10 years at this point, and just love what I do.
So how old were you again when you got involved?
I was about 11 years old.
Yeah, so I was going to dig into that a little bit, but Sean, you go ahead and do that.
So, Adam, what were you doing at 11?
I don't know, playing with my friends, riding bikes.
Right, I think I was learning how to put the chain back on my bicycle. I was like, oh, I forgot to put the chain back on my bike, and you're doing this stuff.
And I was just I go to like, how many times did you get kicked out of school for hacking? Because I know I got into that in the high school, and I was like constantly getting detention because I was doing stuff.
Yeah.
So well, I was one of those hacking. I don't understand. Like, I grew up in a different area. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I was one of those kids that was just bored of school, right? I wanted to get home, get on a computer, and start going to work. I didn't, care for the day-to-day stuff. So I spent a lot of my, years growing up just learning, visual basics and how to code and just basically using a lot of tools. I mean, I was a script kiddie at the time, so I really enjoyed it.
I love the humility in it. I was just doing. I'm like, I was putting a chain on my bicycle and I was playing G.I. Joe and trying to get new baseball cards.
Yep.
I mean, the extent of mine was organizing the Sunday paper so I can deliver that.
Yeah.
You were pen testing.
You had a very full life, Sean. Very fulfilling childhood.
Thank you for noticing. So, I appreciate that.
So let's keep going on. So what is Vonahi Security? What do you guys do?
Yeah, so Vonahi Security, we're an automated network penetration testing company, and our mission is to essentially solve the problems of traditional penetration testing. If you look at the way it's always been done, it's always been manual. It's always been super expensive. It's always, taken too long. And so a lot of like small and mid-sized businesses, medium-sized businesses just can't afford it, right? Because it's too expensive. So when I started Vonahi Security back in 2018, I was really just doing 1099 contract work for about 2 years. And I've always told previous cybersecurity companies, we should be automating reports. Like, why are we hacking companies, but we're doing reports very manually? It just didn't make a lot of sense. And so I've automated the reporting process. And as a consultant, I was doing pen testing. And at one point I was thinking to myself, well, there's probably a lot that I can automate as a pen tester. And so I actually started putting together a lot of the code for our platform to make myself a better penetration tester. And started talking about it on social media. And late 2019 is when we got our first demo. And someone was like, hey, I heard you're automating penetration testing. Like, tell us about it. And then, at that point, we were like, all right, there must be a pretty big opportunity here, right? And so So the SaaS platform officially kind of made it to, we launched it in 2020. And in just about 2 years, we've grown from 0 to 170 partners with no funding. 60% of them haven't been able to offer pen testing in the past because they've just been too expensive. And we've really built a nice community around, like what we do too. So we love MSPs, MSPs love us. We're super excited to be offering a new service and solving a problem that I think a lot of companies around the world are dealing with today.
Nice. So that's pretty cool story. And so did you come out of an MSP business? It sounds like you were just doing some contractor work. Did you have a full-time job or just kind of learning? You kind of walk me through that a little bit.
Yeah. So I've been a consultant for other cybersecurity companies for the last 10 years. And,
okay.
I've always had the idea behind automating what I was doing, but, working at bigger companies, it's just hard to push some changes sometimes. So, but yeah, I've never worked at an MSP before. However, when I was in New Orleans and I was doing 1099 work, I was working with some MSPs to basically offer pen testing to their clients, and it was pretty expensive. So so the product really kind of solved that problem as well, right? We can make it a lot more affordable and make it make sense to MSPs as well.
Nice. Good. Can you make it sense to me for a second? I'm just curious. 1 second. I'll let you go with the rest out in a second. But you mentioned now twice they're expensive, and as far as what's expensive, what's the difference between what's expensive currently, the way the practice is today, and what's the difference with how you do it, and what are we talking a percentage of difference?
Yeah. So essentially, we're able to cut the cost down by like 80%, right? So you could do 12 pen test engagements for the price of one in a traditional world. Like it's that much more affordable. I mean, like for example, a small customer who has like 5 IP addresses, they may get a quote back for like $6 or $7 grand, right? It doesn't really make a lot of sense to a lot of small businesses, and they can't afford it, right? And so they could use our platform to do 12 for less than that cost, right? Depending on the size, of course.
Sure. Yep. Okay. So how does that happen? Because my first question is, one thing we attribute validity, we attribute value with price and cost, right? So if it's cheaper, does it pay less shoes compared to Nike?
So the interesting thing is, when I was doing 1099 work as a pen tester, I actually was automating myself and no one noticed, right?
Okay.
The quality was the same. Sometimes when you peel back the layer of automated companies, they're just vulnerability scanners. But we're actually focused on the exploitation, the post-exploitation, the cracking the hashes, the entire 9 yard, that we would do traditionally. So it's the exact same quality.
Okay, so same quality, but the only difference is you're able to minimize pricing due to automation.
Yeah, so we can minimize.
Removing the body, it's removing the labor. Is that what you're saying, basically?
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
And of course, with the automation, right, we're able to obviously do more continuous pen testing, because right now everybody's just doing it once a year for compliance reasons, security program, things like that. But obviously, if you do a pen test in January, but something major comes out in March, the companies who are doing pen testing won't know until next year in January, right? And by that time, it could be too late. The other issue too is like the reports. A lot of companies have issues when it comes to reports because they're too long. They don't get to the point. They're not really, explaining what to fix and how to fix it, right? So we've solved that problem as well. And also too, because of the SaaS platform, and we've been able to make I'm very obsessed with like simplicity, right? So the platform is super simple. You would almost have to try hard to make it not work, right?
Right.
So, but yeah, so we're basically automating what I used to do manually as a pen tester, and making that entire workflow a lot easier. So no more scoping calls, direct to the platform. Yep.
Yeah. So there's this. I'm gonna ask the question because Sean knows me in security. Woo. Sometimes there's also this vulnerability testing, right? And so what's the difference between kind of like pen testing and vulnerability testing?
Yep.
Or debate.
So well, yeah. So one of the analogies I like to use is, when you think of vulnerability scanning, it basically walks up to the house, it twists the knob, and it says, "Hey, your door is unlocked. These are all of the things that can happen if somebody walked in the door." That's it. It just basically tells you at the surface what the vulnerabilities are. And I'm not saying that they're not valuable. They are valuable, but from the pen test perspective, right? You're basically walking in the door, and you're actually looking for this sensitive data, all the good stuff that people are trying to protect from the criminals, right? And we're basically proving that because the door is unlocked, these are the things that we're able to accomplish. And obviously from the penetration test perspective and demonstrating that impact, people listen when you actually show them that you got access to data versus just knowing that a vulnerability existed, but nothing happened out of it, right? So the pen test is really focused mostly on the impact, like what happens if the exploit was successful versus here's just a vulnerability.
Interesting. Okay. If you are, joining us live, there's actually some comments here. So I'll go ahead and share some. Apparently, Adam Walter has been hacking since 11 on dial-up. With
We're probably crossed each other somewhere in the chat rooms.
And also, pen testing is not subscribing on Bic paper.
It's not scribbling with a Bic.
So,
well, first off,
yeah.
it's usually crayons. Thank you for that.
Yeah, for sure. So,
let's talk. So let's talk about this real quick. I mean, aside from my love for crayons and scribbling on pads, let's talk about the fact of no, you're not my dad, Keith. You're not my dad. Anyway, please stop, Adam. Don't entertain this man. Okay, so I'm curious now. When we talk about 80% is a great savings. Obviously, we know that, right? But what is the true value in a year's time frame of this? So when I think of it as how often would I do a pen test? How often is pen testing occurring, right? And what does that mean in price and in value and in cost savings, whatever?
Yeah. So kind of when you look at it from like the traditional standpoint, again, we could perform 12 in less than the price of one traditional one. But in terms of the frequency, I mean, we've seen a lot of partners that were used to like once a year penetration test engagements, and then they've kind of started doing it, once a month, which, once a month could be, depending on the organization, it could be too much or too little. But, I would say even once a quarter would be pretty good, right? Because, if you just kind of pay attention to like security research, there's new exploits coming out so often. It's pretty crazy. And, a lot of times companies want to know, am I vulnerable? Right. And, traditionally, you wouldn't really be able to find that out unless the vulnerability scanner told you. But in a lot of cases, there's a lot of new exploits coming out that require, they would kind of fit into like a post-exploitation scenario. Right. So like your vulnerability scanner won't find it because it requires credentials, requires dumping creds, hashes, things like that. But yeah, I mean, given the rate of which, new exploits become available, I would think that performing it more often would provide a lot more value because you can see rather than waiting the next year to do that same exact pen test,
So I mean, is best practice once a month, once a quarter, or, I mean, obviously, the vulnerability, but the vulnerability would dictate some of the stuff, but I'm saying like, say there's no vulnerability acknowledgement of any sort. So should they just perform this once a month?
Yep, I would say once a month is a good time because there could be a lot of exploits that come out in the same month, and if you're doing it once a quarter, maybe once a month is too slow, right? So just kind of have to.
Got it. And so you said you already have partners using this today.
So we've got a little bit over 170 partners. About 60% of them haven't been able to offer pen testing in the past, just due to the reasons we just spoke about. So. Yep.
And so. Pen testing can be used also as a way to grow the business within the business, correct?
Correct.
So when I see something's wrong, when you do this penetration, we get that there's issues A, B, and C, whatever those are. You need to buy these technologies or pay for my services to support this in a better fashion, so you don't have this vulnerability later.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly.
And so what's the process look like for somebody to work with you?
Yeah. So it's
partner-wise.
Yeah. So, kind of going back to the simplicity, we're super obsessed with like that customer experience from point A to point Z. So with us, basically they can log into the platform, they can create their company, they can schedule they can schedule the assessment. And when you think about the traditional scoping call from a pen tester's perspective, the scoping call is basically, getting to know the customer, understanding their expectations, setting expectations. When do you want to start? Exchanging information like IP addresses, things like that, who to notify. We've taken that entire scoping, like usually 30-minute phone call, and we've condensed it into a six-step process in the scheduling wizard. So they basically sign into the platform, create the customer, they create a schedule to say, I want to scan customer A targeting these IP addresses on these days, and exclude business hours or whatever, and that's it. I mean, we've had some partners sign up on day one and schedule 12 assessments. And that would have been ridiculous trying to do that in a traditional, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Right. So there's you can expedite this is basically what it boils down to.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, let me. So besides kind of doing this like routine pen testing and so forth, I'm just in my mind, I'm kind of thinking, well, are there any other benefits? Is there like insurance or cybersecurity insurance
Mhm.
that's basically you have to check those boxes?
Mhm.
Is there cybersecurity framework options, and how do we go about that, or controls rather?
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
I don't know, like, right? Because then you just basically how are you helping MSPs, and then how are the MSPs actually are you helping the clients of that, right? So
Yeah.
hope
Yeah.
there's a lot
Absolutely.
of questions there.
Yeah. No. No. Absolutely. I totally understand. So, um, obviously, compliance. The biggest driving factor for a lot of assessments, security assessments, like penetration testing. So obviously, when it comes to like PCI and HIPAA, requiring a penetration test, all right, that would solve that problem. Number one, to be able to meet that annual requirement, and then kind of to your point, when it comes to cyber insurance, like obviously that is something that is growing significantly over the years. I mean, 5 years ago, when you wanted cyber liability insurance, you just had to answer like 3 questions. You know what I mean? Like, what do you do? How do you do it? And that's it. Here you go. But now, now that we've seen a lot of attacks happening over the last few years and it's constantly growing, cybersecurity companies, insurance companies, they're wanting to do more due diligence before they insure their customers. Are they actually doing pen testing? What are their vulnerabilities? Like, are we going to insure them and they're going to get popped tomorrow? Right. So there's that area of the market as well to be able to like provide that assurance that this customer is secure
So
before.
time
Yeah.
out on that then. Question
Mhm.
on that, exactly on that.
Mhm.
With that, which cybersecurity is a big conversation. Cybersecurity
Mhm.
insurance is an even bigger conversation, it seems like now, because it's
Mhm.
so new. Is
Mhm.
there Are there requirements that you guys are helping with saying, hey, in order for you to get insurance from us, you're gonna have to do this many pen tests, you're gonna have to be is that something that's because I think the audience is learning a lot about this as we go.
Yeah.
Is this where we're headed for in this
I think at some point we will get there, right? I think it's kind of a slow and moving process where cyber liability insurance companies wanting to see some type of report or something. I think,
Mhm.
and you can see the progress today compared to like 5 years ago. I mean, it's going to keep, and especially as more automated tools like ours come up in the market. I mean, there's going to be, I think we're going to close that gap from, we're not requiring it, we don't care about it, all the way to, hey, show us your report so we can kind of make a decision on this. So yeah, I would definitely say in the next, I don't know how many years, but we're definitely going to get to a point where it's going to be, heavily required, or it'll help reduce the rates, right? So
Gotcha. No, I think that's so that okay. So reducing the rate. So if you keep doing pen testing, similar to not getting points on your driver's license, you're basically keeping your rate down or lessening your rate.
yeah, I mean, if we're proving that, you're less, you're doing your due diligence, you're providing you're doing your assessments. I don't see why that wouldn't,
Yeah, I would hope so, but you never.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I mean, I've dealt with insurance companies probably as long as all of
yeah,
us
Yeah.
here,
I know.
and
So
Yep. Believe me. Yep.
we do
they're
have
full of it.
some questions out here. Some
Mhm.
actually valid questions from here. Keith,
Mhm.
does your reporting align with a framework, or is there something we import into our templates? So yeah,
Good
kind of.
Yeah.
call.
Yeah. So MITRE ATT&CK framework is obviously a very popular framework out there, and we don't necessarily build our tool off of the MITRE ATT&CK framework. However, from a pen testing perspective, there's a lot of overlap, right? There's a lot of things that MITRE ATT&CK talks about that overlaps into what a traditional pen tester would do. So we have a lot of like references in our reports that align exactly to the MITRE ATT&CK framework, so they can go in there and then kind of review some additional activities based on what we've done during the pen test. And obviously, when it comes to other services, outside of the automation, we do align with OWASP Top 10 and some of those other ones, depending on the requirement.
So if you're doing pen test,
Hmm.
you're getting back results, which also lead to an ability to upsell and cross sell. Should
Hmm.
this not be something that goes into a QBR and also integrate into manage and sell and everything else with us?
Yeah, and to that point, I mean, that's exactly what we're doing, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, ConnectWise has a huge community, 40,000 MSPs, and we're actually, the integration with the pen test is going to bring that ability to those partners as well. So they'll be able to offer pen testing, to their customers as well. So, yep.
Now, will this show up again because we're in the world of let's try to get everything into one portal,
Hmm.
or as best as we can get it into one portal
Hmm.
where people work from. I
Hmm.
don't Do I need to come to your portal to find my stuff, or can I work out of another portal like my
Hmm.
QBR, my CRM,
Hmm.
my PSA, my manage, my whatever?
Hmm.
Is that doable?
So right now, you would have to log into the portal to do it. However, with the integration, we do anticipate having some of those functionalities available within ConnectWise Manage. We're pretty
Okay.
close to the end of that integration. So, and that's something that we've talked about. So, yep.
So I can set up a pen test and it's going to get right into their account, so I know what happened. So I can add it to, if I'm doing a QBR, I can then pull that into the QBR and say, hey guys, these are what you're due to renew on. This is what we talked about last time. By the way, we did a pen test and this is the results. We need to go do this as well.
Yep. That's the ultimate goal. Absolutely.
That's like a mic drop, right? I mean, all right.
Yep. Goes back to that simplicity and ease of use.
It has to be. It has to be, or there's no value in it for me. If I have to add on 20% more admin work because of your tool, that might reap benefits, because if I don't do it right, it only reaps benefits if I know how to use it. And that's the next question I have is, how do you onboard and educate me to know what this means in the grand scheme of this?
Yeah.
How to leverage it.
Yeah, so there's a few different. So we have a full-blown help center that walks through the entire portal, all of the features, and even touch a little bit on some of the security vulnerabilities as well. And so there is a guide to kind of walk you through how to use the platform and things like that. And we do also hop on calls with our partners to help them, educate their sales teams on how to sell the platform, things like that. So we do provide that additional support as well. But yeah, we do have a fully integrated workflow in terms of how to get signed up, how to use it, how to interpret the reports, and how to deliver that to the end customer as well.
Awesome. That's great. So now, are you providing marketing and sales document stuff too, assets?
Yep. We also have those as well. Yep.
Awesome. And from the way it is, is this considered a white label or a referral program?
Yeah, so we could do both, right? So it's funny because there's actually a checkbox that determines which one you want to do. So if you want to white label the platform to your customers, so it's completely from your brand, you literally hit a checkbox and that's it. The logos, the colors, the reports, contact information, all of that gets updated automatically just with that checkbox. It's pretty nice.
Nice. Okay. So, and is there any change in cost or anything to choose either or?
Nope.
Okay. Nice. All right.
So have you talked about kind of meeting kind of compliance for PCI or HIPAA? I thought you mentioned a couple of those keyword terms a bit ago. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah, we have some customers that use the platform every year for PCI compliance. So that would include, segmentation testing, and just, your general penetration tests.
Gotcha. Okay. And so on the kind of white labeling, there was a question here posted on social is it the portal, is it white labelable? And then can you whitelist it so then your clients can actually be presented to your clients, or do your clients have access to that portal, or is it just for the engineer and MSP company to look at?
Yeah. So that white labeling situation is 100% white label. So URL, entire portal, and that's also a checkbox too. So once they have that enabled, I mean, their customers would never really see the platform. It would just be the MSP 100%. And there is obviously Vonahi Security in the bottom, but that's pretty much it.
Cool. So is it customer facing, the portal then? Did you say? Okay.
Yep.
So they can actually see what's going on. And so, and then you have the conversation, you walk them through the portal means. If you're the MSP, hey, this is what we did, this is our finding. But then again, though, that might be counterproductive, though, if you're doing QBRs too.
Yeah.
Because you'd rather put in a full storyline. If I'm gonna come talk to you for a quarter business review, I'm gonna talk to you about everything that's included, right?
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
Exactly. Yep. So the MSP have the ability to log into the portal, schedule their assessments for the customer. They can even give the customer access too if they want to offload some of that responsibility to the customer, and the customer can then log in and schedule the same exact assessment and get the reports and everything as well.
Yep. That's awesome. So it meets all. You mentioned it meeting compliance for PCI and HIPAA. Am I correct?
Correct. Yep.
So is there anything that doesn't involve itself in when you do this? Is there any compliance that it's not serving for at this point, or is it every damn thing? Because it sounds like you're doing everything, which is good. I'm just saying, just curious.
Yeah.
Where's the limitation? Yeah, where is the line for you?
Yeah. So I mean, for us, we've only dealt with PC. I mean, my past has all been PCI assessments, right? So traveling on site, testing for the CDE access, things like that. And then we have some customers that obviously have to meet like HIPAA compliance requirements as well. So those are the only two compliance frameworks that we focus on. So it's just that, I guess that would be
that's the line. Got it. Okay.
Exactly.
That is what I wanted to know, because I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, again, as these partners try to build out their deck,
Mhm.
or their stack rather, they need to understand where one company starts, the other company ends. I mean, case in point, whenever the whole cyber insurance world started, nobody understood that it was insurance. They were like, oh, it's cybersecurity. No, it's insurance. And there was a very, and if you remember, it was a very vague line of what that meant, because nobody knew. I mean, it was what was really going on. So I think it's important to identify what you guys really do, so people know, I need this. Okay, I'm going to do this, and come with you. So, okay, so we have a portal that's client facing, partner facing. You're working on integrations into manage. And and I'll go even one step further. Is there further integrations in play for either into QBR products? Because we have we have a couple QBR products in our competition with you. So maybe you should talk to them. And maybe create some alignments. I mean, that would be a good idea. But also, is there any other plans for other CRM systems maybe to push into?
Yeah, at the moment it's just ConnectWise Manage, and obviously there's a list, but we did a survey to see who uses the most and kind of have that, but that changes quite often. But right now, currently in progress, that is the ConnectWise Manage.
Okay.
Yep.
So, Adam, is there something you'd like to add? I don't know if you have anything there.
Yeah, no, it's so, I don't know if it's already been discussed, but kind of how much information, probably not right now. I mean, I'm thinking right now there's multiple different places to go log in, such as your portal. I'm guessing it's on the roadmap to be kind of part of Manage as one single pane of glass. So
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. And our chief product officer, he actually comes from an MSP background, right? So he's worked with a lot of the ConnectWise products, and he's kind of helping us, drive that conversation and getting that going with the development team. So, but yeah, and I think we're pretty close to it. I would say within the next week or two, we should have that integration completed.
Okay, and so with kind of talking about the penetration testing, do you use that in conjunction with a standard risk assessment of working with prospective clients or existing clients? So let's hang on, let's take a step. So we're prospecting for clients, right? In the MSP business. Is your tool capable of using that, saying, hey, here's your vulnerabilities, and here's some issues that we can come and mediate? And then there's also the question of existing clients, right? Do you use those in a standard risk assessments and so forth?
Yeah, so we actually have a free tool called Internet Exposure Scout that some of our partners use to kind of do a little bit of background on some of their customers before they kind of get them signed on. And then some of the other partners as well, we do offer vulnerability scanning, and that is, they would go in, do a vulnerability assessment and say, hey, you've got 6 criticals. We could probably show you a lot more, right, through the penetration test. So the vulnerability scanner could kind of serve as like that, a surface level conversation about, here's what's possibly behind the doors if we were to talk a little bit further.
Gotcha. Okay.
You got a ton of comments here too, by the way, Adam. I'm looking.
I was going to go down that path.
Yeah, it's just not the last one. That's all.
I was just about to share that one too.
Oh
boy. So
oh boy is right.
Does an MSP use pen testing on their own system, or are they performing this as a service for each end client? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have a lot of partners that actually want to use it on themselves first, because they want to understand, what the results look like, how is it going to impact the environment, what does that look like, and obviously as a best practice, they want to use it before they go out and sell it and tell everyone else to use it, right? So we've got a lot of partners that are using it internally. They just basically add themselves as a customer in the portal to accomplish that goal.
Sweet. All right. So how so you have a website, right? Can people sign up directly on your website or schedule a demo? It looks like there's a demo, some videos on there. Tell us how, if I'm an MSP business interested in kind of moving forward with this, what do I do?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do offer a free trial, right? Because we all understand automation, and there's a lot of talk about that. So we do offer free trial to kind of prove it and show how it works and the whole process, up to 25 IP addresses. So they could sign up through the portal. I mean, through the website. Basically, reach out to our sales team or sales@vonahi.io, and basically sign up, get a free trial, proof of concept, and essentially, go through the entire process and see what it looks like.
We even have people watching our live feed right now. interested in it, so.
Well, that's our boy. That's my boy Tom.
Appreciate it, Tom.
You have no idea how much you appreciate if he likes you. Just letting you know, like Tom has a YouTube channel with over 250,000 subscribers.
He just got an award for it or whatever. Made a little certificate.
He's He's an MSP, and he actually does reviews of products, like based off what he's going to use or what he doesn't use, just for the hell of it, because at 11 he was also hacking like the rest of the random people I know.
I do. Yeah.
Good.
I was going to shift over because Keith, also known as Sean's father, serious question though. He's trying to understand reporting. Do they accumulate? Showing the impacts of improvements and their impact on security, hygiene.
Yeah. So whenever you perform your first assessment, it's kind of like a baseline. And once you complete the assessment, there is like a run remediation button, right? Run a remediation scan. And basically that queues up the same IPs, right? Basically duplicates the original schedule. And that report is actually going to show you just a remediation report. So it's going to show what's new, what's been fixed, what still exists. And you'll also get the charts too to kind of show like, is it getting better or is it getting worse? So we do have that remediation capability as well.
Awesome. So, and actually there's been, I think there's a couple other questions in here too, Adam, like, other than Keith's comments, please don't.
Sorry, when I chug out, I'm going to interrupt you. Sorry, Alton.
No. So let's talk about, actually Keith had a good point about the SNMP and syslogs and retention. Do you want to elaborate a little bit on your side and your perspective?
As far as like issues with them, or
it would be interesting just to integrate into those network monitoring.
If you integrate them, yeah.
And
gotcha.
Yeah.
Into network monitoring. I mean, I'm trying to understand like what that process would look like, right? From our perspective. I mean, like as far as like exporting logs, we do have logs that we track, like as far as like every activity that the platform launches, any exploits, any password attacks, cracking attempts, etc. We do have like the logging capability, but we don't have that, I guess, the integration capability just yet to integrate into SNMP or anything like that. But I mean, I think that would be a pretty good, there's many ways we can get the information out. I think it would be pretty nice. So.
Well, I think it's important too to not cater to every crazy old man's request.
Yeah,
and really thank you. And really focus on what is a real value add and back to your simplicity.
Yeah, exactly. And we basically take a lot of like requests. We just add them to the list, right? And we kind of prioritize and work towards it. But I'm totally with you on that.
So taking a step back a little bit, what are kind of the goals of this software solution? What's your vision for this in 3 years? Paint the picture a little bit for me. What do you expect this tool to be able to, where do you see it in the marketplace?
Yeah, so I think the biggest goal for us is really just to make penetration testing available to more businesses, right? There's over 5 million businesses out there that don't do pen testing of any sort, and probably for whatever reason, right? It's too expensive, things like that. So we want to be able to solve those problems to make it available to, smaller businesses that have to choose between, do I want to do a pen test this year or do I want to wait, until we're bigger to be able to afford it, right? So we want to, obviously make it much more attractive to smaller businesses. And also too for MSPs, we want them to be able to offer this service and to their customers, because it is a thing that people want to do. They just can't do it because of all of the problems. So we want to solve those problems and make it available. So I think that's ultimately the biggest goal, right? Is to bring that to the market and show people that, hey, you actually can automate a pen test, which that is a whole different conversation.
that is for, I mean, the first thing by you saying, hey, we can drop your cost by 80%, and we can automate. People immediately became nervous, right?
Exactly.
It's a foreign concept, and I've seen
Yep.
plenty of chatter on social everywhere where they're like, it's impossible.
Exactly.
Right. But I think, especially now with the way everything is rolling, actually, I don't know if you saw that there was from IT Nation Secure, there was a couple of things that were takeaways. One was the fact that with everything being cloud-based now, almost on-prem is almost done with, that for the foreseeable future anyway. It seems that way. The problem would be everything has to be automated in the cloud. Everything must be automated in the cloud to actually do the job. And
Exactly.
also, and I feel like pen tester, that, you know, we're pretty far into the world of pen testing that it's not like when it first started and you had to have a certain skill set.
Exactly.
It's now blue collar now. It's not white collar. You know, there's no degree that comes along with this. The future is not this. It's part of the future, but it's not. We better find the right people to do the job.
Exactly. Yeah, and you think about, like, you know, cybersecurity companies looking for more pen testers to join, and it's it's one of those things that, like, 6 years ago, if you mentioned automated pen testing, or even automation or AI in general, people would just be like, "That's weird. It's just another buzzword. It's never going to do anything." But over time, we've seen AI and a lot of other automated technology come to to real life. So it's one of those things that if there's enough demand, and especially when it comes to, like, we're running commands on a command line, right? You're basically just talking about a huge logic tree. So there is going to be more acceptance, I think. Just like most new technology in the world, it's just going to be something that happens over time. But it is possible for sure.
Sure. No, I agree, and that's okay, because my friend Tom Lawrence is calling me out. Legacy's been has a very long tail. On-prem we run. Yes, Tom, we know it will be, but you've seen the largest transformation to digital in forever that we've been talking about for 15 years. So it's inevitable that on-prem will have always some, maybe somewhere, but we're talking about the future, Tom. So please leave me alone.
So in wrapping, so understand kind of your vision and so forth for the organization to get it kind of out more in the marketplace. You become a winner of, PitchIT. There's a nice $70,000 prize pool, right? There's $70,000 for first, $30,000 for second, I believe, Sean.
Yes.
And third, well, you get to all the training experience and all that stuff.
You get to come for free too. I mean, well, here's a question. Here's a question we have not asked anybody else. Let's say you win first place. What are you doing?
Yeah,
that's what I was.
I know.
I knew that was coming too.
I stole your thunder. What are you gonna do? $70,000, tons of exposure. Then what happens?
Yeah. So, for us, I think I mentioned before, we haven't had any funding before. So we've just been, just word of mouth, a lot of referrals. And so we're a product-led company, right? So we want to pour money back into the product to make it better, to bring out some more integrations. And then also, in the marketing and sales, we want, to get more exposure in the world, because I think we're at a time where, like, the demand for penetration testing is obviously, and security in general, is so high. And I think if enough people knew about Vonahi Security, we would be able to, it would be pretty massive for us. So we definitely want to pour back into better, making a product even better, and also increasing our exposure as well. So it would definitely go towards that.
Awesome. So, fun fact about yourself.
We already discussed it.
Did we?
11-year-old, he's doing stuff that we made jokes about.
There were some other things in there that he didn't actually talk about. Did you know that he is also potentially a car enthusiast?
Oh yeah,
potentially. He's potentially a car enthusiast, or he is a car enthusiast.
Well, I didn't ask the question. It's on his PowerPoint slide, but I was leading. I was leading the conversation.
Sorry,
there.
I'm sorry, I got excited.
Yeah, I mean, I love photography. I am a car enthusiast. I can talk about that forever. For me, I'm on a computer a lot all day, and my way of getting out is to get in a race car and drive, right? So I'm definitely heavily involved in the car community.
So you're driving race cars?
I've taken my car to the racetrack before and did the road course, autocross. So I'm pretty.
We got to understand what car is that. What kind of car is it?
Yeah, so I've had a 2017 GT350 roll cage harness. I've done that.
Nice.
And I just I just got a 2021 GT500 back in January. Got it at MSRP, surprisingly. And however, I'm swapping that out for the Plaid, so the Model S Plaid. So a little bit of a shift there, but you know,
it is a bit of shift. So
Well, you know, you're
I
not the only one.
Spectrum of that. So I also consider my TRX to be a race car. It is a Baja race car, but I love my TRX.
Yep.
And we also just sold our Porsche Macan GTS so that we can get we actually are getting the Rivian RS.
Oh, all right.
So that's exciting. Anyway, we could talk all day about cars. Alton,
I traded my Schwinn in for my Huffy. Ripping up the course, dude. Ripping up the course.
We're circling back to the bicycle. I see. We're closing the whole conversation. I like that. So
I do what I can.
You do what you can. So Alton, really appreciate your time today. It's really been fantastic. There's been a ton of social interaction on this particular topic. So definitely check us out on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. ConnectWise Boss Facebook group, and also the ConnectWise Tips and Tricks Facebook group. Alton, any last words?
No, just want to say, appreciate you all for having me. And, I mean, obviously, I don't know, it's probably obvious, but I love talking about automated pen testing and automation in general, and just making life more simple and efficient, right? So, no, just appreciate you all having us, and we look forward to the competition.
Awesome. And Sean,
absolutely.
Closing thoughts.
Alton, thanks, man. You're the man. Next time I will bring a trash can barrel so we can catch it on fire, and a bottle of wine in a bag so we can sing a cappella together. And we can sing about pen testing for sure. And because I feel like pen testing leads to a hardship tour, which is what every love song is about, is breaking hearts. So yeah. I feel like there's something there. Yeah. There is something there, But no, seriously, thank you for coming on, being part of the competition, man. You guys, Tremy, you've been fantastic with all of us. I appreciate your involvement, because you have a choice to be part of the competition and really be part of the competition and invest in yourselves. And I think you guys you've done a nice job. So I really appreciate that. So I'm looking forward to seeing how I'm glad I said the other day, I'm glad I'm not judging anything. Thank God. I can just be the instigator, and I can be that's all I got to be, is the instigator of things. I don't got to judge and be like, as a matter of fact, I don't plan on delivering any of the bad or good news to anybody. I'm going to make Louis do it, because he's our marketing guy. Louis now. I'm going to make him deliver the news to whoever gets moved forward. But I'm totally stoked to see how you guys turn out, man.
Awesome.
Yeah, likewise. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Sean. And we actually are taking a couple-week break. So I know I'm going to be traveling, honeymoon. It's been a long COVID period. So I'm actually taking off to Italy myself, just to disconnect, put my feet in nice, beautiful water, drink some delicious wine, and have some great pasta and pizza. Not to just layer it on there, but I'm really focusing on my marriage, and just a massive year for growth for our organization, and a lot of work and efforts gone into the PitchIT and so forth. So we are going to be back here live again July 12th, and also be aware that we are publicly sharing the next links for the next entire series, so you're actually see all the events. And so I encourage you, if you are a part of future PitchIT sessions, that you can share those across your social media. So definitely check that out. Again, check us out, connectwiseboss.com, and that's the ConnectWise Boss Facebook group, ConnectWise Tips and Tricks Facebook group, YouTube, and LinkedIn. And with that, appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much. Peace out.
Sweet.
Wow.